Trump signals possible withdrawal from Russia-Ukraine. Peace efforts amid shifting U.S. priorities. As global tensions continue to escalate, U.S. President Donald Trump has hinted at a significant shift in America's foreign policy approach, namely, a potential withdrawal from efforts to mediate the ongoing Russia-Ukraine conflict. The statement, which has sparked both criticism and praise across the international political landscape, suggests that Washington may be preparing to step back from one of the most complex and enduring geopolitical crises of the 21st century. During a televised interview earlier this week, President Trump stated, "We have tried. We've done what we could. But if we don't see any real progress soon, we may have to walk away. The United States has other urgent matters to focus on." The comments immediately drew attention from diplomats, analysts, and politicians alike, signaling what could be a dramatic change in America's role on the global stage. A long-standing engagement. Since the war broke out in 2022, the United States has been a key player in providing support to Ukraine. Militarily, economically, and diplomatically, billions of dollars in aid have been funneled to Kyiv, including advanced weapons systems, training programs, and economic stabilization packages. Additionally, the U.S. has led international sanctions against Russia, placing severe pressure on Moscow's economy. Trump's latest remarks, however, indicate a growing weariness within the administration. Aides close to the president have reportedly cited diminishing returns from U.S. involvement, pointing out that despite multiple peace talks and ceasefire agreements, the conflict shows few signs of resolution. Domestic concerns, especially related to the economy, inflation, and border security, are now taking precedence. International reactions. Reactions to the president's announcement have been mixed. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky responded with measured concern, stating, "We value the support of our American allies deeply. We hope this is not a permanent shift but rather a recalibration." He urged continued collaboration and warned that any reduction in U.S. involvement could embolden Russian aggression. Meanwhile, the Kremlin has welcomed the news. A spokesperson for Russian President Vladimir Putin stated, "We believe peace in Ukraine can only be achieved without Western interference." President Trump's position is a step toward de-escalation and a more multipolar world. European leaders have reacted with caution. Countries like Germany, France, and the UK expressed concern that an American withdrawal could destabilize the balance of power in Europe. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg emphasized the alliance's commitment to Ukraine, but acknowledged that losing U.S. leadership would be a significant blow. Domestic political implications. Within the United States, the decision has triggered a new round of political debate. Critics argue that the move reflects isolationist tendencies and could damage U.S. credibility as a global leader. Walking away now sends the wrong message to our allies and to authoritarian regimes around the world, said Senator Chris Murphy, DCT. It tells the world that American support can be temporary and transactional. However, Trump's base has largely supported the move. Supporters view it as a necessary step to refocus on domestic challenges. Public opinion. Polls show that a growing number of Americans are skeptical about continued involvement in foreign wars, particularly those with no clear end in sight. Strategic shift or temporary pause. It remains unclear whether this signals a permanent retreat or a tactical pause. Some experts argue that Trump's remarks could be a negotiation strategy to pressure European allies into taking more responsibility. Others believe it is a genuine policy shift aligned with the president's broader America First doctrine. Dr. Emily Rhodes, a senior fellow at the Brookings Institution, said this could be Trump's way of saying, "We've done our part. Now it's time for others to step up." It doesn't necessarily mean abandonment, but it does suggest a reduced leadership role. Looking ahead, as the situation develops, many questions remain unanswered. Will the U.S. reduce military aid to Ukraine? Will it continue to impose sanctions on Russia? And how will this affect America's relationships with NATO and the European Union? For now, all eyes remain on Washington, the future of U.S. involvement in the Russia-Ukraine conflict, and, by extension, the balance of global power hangs in the balance.